I was hesitant because I was like, man, am I really going to invest this much in just social? Like, I'm the ads person. I don't even care about organic is what I tell myself. And I'm like, no, this matters too.
Yeah.
That's the best analogy ever. You're really speaking my language today, Meredith. She speaks to me in analogies and I'm like, I understand now.
Like,
no.
I walked the red carpet. Like,
What?
I mean, I don't want to show the pictures.
God, this is making so much sense. I'm like, this is why you're so cool. I'm excited to introduce you to someone here on the team at the Paid Ads Academy. And what's so funny is so many of my clients inside the mastermind, they're like, am I in a separate mastermind? Because I'm with Meredith. So I'm really excited to introduce you to our brand and creative lead, Meredith McConnell. What's really cool is Meredith and I were actually very good friends prior to getting to work together. And now we just get to have fun and do work things. And we're like, is this work? This is amazing. So I'm really excited to introduce you to Meredith.
Hi, guys.
Hello. So yeah, Meredith and I, her and her husband, y'all actually were our small group leaders.
Yep, which
You
is
remember
so
this?
funny.
It was like the best. Like, so let's go back. Talk about how we met, what that looked like at the beginning, and then we'll do our like evolution. Because I want them to hear your story of where were you, what were you doing when we met? Like I want to hear the story, and then we'll talk about how all this led up to you being so good at branding, and then we'll really talk about Launch Your Ads Live and the whole story.
Yeah.
You like it?
Wow. Okay. Well, where do I begin? So I started off as an elementary school teacher, and I, in high school, was given the superlative for most likely to be a teacher. So here I am, not a teacher anymore. But I always just pictured myself as working with kids and learning that process of teaching them how to read and how to learn math. And when I got into it, there's just so much more to teaching these days than just teaching. And so as time went by, I tried different counties and different schools, and it just didn't feel right. So then I actually just started curating posts on Instagram
Yeah.
and starting to really deep dive into like what I find enjoyment out of outside of teaching. When I'd come home, like what is something fun I could do besides like watch Netflix or read a book or, just be outside. Like what could I do inside?
Yeah.
And just spend some time doing. And I just really fell in love with like watching how people interacted online and how they took photos. Like I'm not a photographer. I don't want to be a photographer, but like how do they lay out their photos? How do they take flat lays? I just have always had this love for pop culture.
Yes.
And
I've observed this.
yes, it's just something innately within me. Like, I'm not ashamed to say that, like, when I grew up, I was watching, like, E! News and, the Life of the Rich and the Famous on VH1, right?
Yeah.
Like, TRL Live.
God, this is making so much sense. I'm like, this is why you're so cool.
I am infatuated with it. Like, my dad took me to the Academy Awards when I was younger. Like,
No.
I walked the red carpet. Like,
What?
I mean, I don't want to show the pictures because I'm like front bangs. Like, I mean, I just loved it. I love New York City. Like we talked about that the other day.
Yes.
Like, I love like just big city life, which is so funny because like I am not like this super outgoing personality when you meet me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that over time I've learned like I am not a shy person. I'm just reserved.
Yeah.
And then when I get to know someone or I feel comfortable in an environment, like then my personality is more comfortable.
Totally.
And, like, comes through.
It does.
Anyways, so I just started to really love like how it could create visuals online.
Yeah.
And
And in your house. I don't know if you realize. Like
And in my house.
You wanted to curate at home, your own home, and I think like the visual online home. almost.
Yeah. So I started to, get into Pinterest, scrolling, and that's when Pinterest started to become big, like right at the end of college.
Yep.
And I loved it. Like I would buy the magazines like at checkout and like look through Us Weekly, like, just what's going on in pop culture. And so I worked for a network marketing company for a couple years, what I really loved about it was curating the photos and figuring out what the strategy was to post online, not the actual like product and like what I was selling. And so I just continued to do that. I continued to develop my Instagram. Like I don't have a lot of followers or anything, but it's just something I enjoy to do. Like there wasn't like a big goal in mind. It was just like something that I liked, almost like a hobby. And then I had someone reach out to me that was like an acquaintance and was like, friend of a friend, hey, we love how you run your social, like your personal social. Would you want to run our company social? I'm like, what in the world? Like, of course. And so I was still teaching at the time. I started a tutoring business. I was like trying to dabble in like what that would look like. 2020 hit. And so I just started doing a bunch of different things. Like, I was tutoring, I was teaching online, my first graders. That was a fun experience. And I started running this company's Instagram account and really learning what that looked like to work with somebody else, work with people that wanted a vision and how to navigate that. And it just happened with word of mouth. Someone knew that I was running someone's account. You know, they were like, oh, you know, if you're looking for a social person, you know, she's running this account. And so then I got hired by somebody else. And at the time I was running 3 accounts, teaching and doing private tutoring.
Wow.
And I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do in this like weird pivot during 2020. And during that time, my husband, James, and I were leading a small group. And that's where we met Ashley and Kyle.
Yeah.
We initially joined a small group and we loved how open the initial small group leaders were with their story and with their life. And we're like, we don't want to join another one that's just like a cookie cutter small group with like cookie cutter answers. So we're like, the best way to form what we previously had in our old small group was to be the leaders and create it ourselves of like what we wanted that to look like. And so we got to meet Ashley and Kyle, and we just, I feel like, hit it off right away.
I was like, she's so cool. We're different, and I love it. Like, that's really what it was.
Yes, and, like, I'm, like, very drawn to, like, Ashley's personality because, like, if you have 2 of me, like, nobody would be talking in a room. But, like, you know, I pair well with someone that's more outgoing.
Yeah.
And, it's like 2 peas in a pod.
We are.
And so obviously that worked out because like we continued our friendship outside of small group and through a lot of ups and downs in both of our journeys, and like we've just kind of stuck by each other. And so after we left small group, we just continued our friendship, and I stepped away from teaching and joined a marketing agency. I was an intern at 30 years old. It's very humbling. And it was a full service marketing agency. So I learned the ins and outs of everything. Like I just wanted to go like full force. Like you tell me something to do, I'll do it. I want to be in every single room. Like Ashley talks about being in rooms with people that know more than you. Like I was in rooms that, you know, every single type of department in marketing, I was in those rooms, and those people were like in their early 20s. Like, and obviously like they knew more than me. And so I just had a really wonderful experience there. And as I stayed there throughout the past couple of years, I was ready to move on and see what else was, you know, out there for me. And during that time when I was kind of thinking through, like after I had my daughter, like, what does this look like the next, you know, season of my life, like being a mom now? And I watched Ashley, you know, alongside of her, like as she was growing this business. And I just kept peeking over. Like
you would like the stuff on Instagram. I'm like, I think Meredith is approving of this.
Yes, I'm like, I'm Ashley's biggest fan. Like every single post, I'm like, yes, like this. I'm so proud of you. Like you're really doing it. Like it was just really, really cool to see. And so eventually, I left the marketing agency and moved over to Ashley and started off 2 days a week.
Yeah, I came to you. I was like knocking on Meredith's door. I'm like, you're so good at this. We need help. Like, I'm not doing it. You know, like I was so grateful because we outsourced our social media to multiple people in multiple scenarios over the course of time. And I'm so grateful because everyone, like, I remember Chelsea owned it for a good amount of time. She did such a great job. Like, I loved the evolution, but I knew like there was a moment where I was like, okay, this is the moment where I'm like going to decide, we're going to keep outsourcing this, or is this the time? Is a signal that we should take this in house? And I was hesitant because I was like, man, am I really going to invest this much in just social? Like, I'm the ads person. I don't even care about organic is what I tell myself. And I'm like, no, this matters too.
Yeah.
And it's like a brand thing is what I feel like I've kind of put together. And so, yes, yeah, I was like, Meredith, what needs to happen for this to happen?
Yeah. And I was hesitant with social because I knew that social was something I loved. But I felt like there was just a next step for
A
me.
level above it.
Yeah, a level above it. And so I, thought about dabbling in it, but I was like, I just had this gut feeling like there's just something else. Like I feel like it could be with Ashley, but I just don't know if I want to commit to the specific social.
Yeah.
And so we kept having conversations.
And you like kind of held firm to it too. And I was like,
did.
ugh. It was like, I wanted her to be just like, I would love to do the social. And I would have been like, amazing. But she was like, I don't know if, she's like, I want to play a role in it. But like, we didn't know what it was going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we met and I think it was in December, like around Christmas time. And, there's always so much going on with you. But she was like, there's this happening and this happening. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this girl is just going nonstop. And something about Ashley, which a lot of you guys probably know this, but Ashley is really good at seeing what's inside of someone and like speaking into that, even if they don't believe in themselves.
You're going to cry again, like I always do. I really do.
Yeah. And that is something that I've like just so admired about you, is something that like, I mean, my husband could say it and it's like one thing, right?
Totally.
But if like somebody that's like outside your family, like that's like, you know what? I see this in you, and it's not like you're just saying it just to say it. Like you're saying it because you truly see the value in different people, and it's just wonderful. And I felt that from you. Yeah. And I felt like this pull. And so I quit my job and I started 2 days a week, right? And
God, that seems like a year ago, 10 years ago, but yes.
Yeah, and it's just started to evolve over the next several months of the 2 days a week. And I took her course and I've just learned so much, and I just wanted to fully step in. And so we had another conversation about like what that could look like. And I knew that branding, like the more I kept seeing like what it means to be someone in branding, and like looking at the visuals and how it's not just the visuals, it's how you make people feel.
Yeah, it
and
is.
how you leave that lasting impression on a person when they interact with your company. And that's kind of how we can, go into Lunch Ads Live, because it wasn't just like, I want everything to be pretty.
Oh, it's not that at all.
Yeah.
I think, so basically Meredith had 2 days a week, and I feel like it was some social advising, but also you were coaching, like you were doing some like support. I was like, she was learning all the ad stuff too, because her husband has a business as well. So there was like mutually beneficial reasons for learning ads, which was a good thing, because she saw the value in learning advertising, probably from all my posts nonstop. She's probably sold on it. And so it's like she was standing firm to like, I'm not going to be the social media poster, and I will step in and do some of this coaching kind of to support you, because she wanted to help where she could. But it eventually has evolved into Meredith being the brand and creative lead. And I didn't realize how many things would go to Meredith. Like I was like, I don't know. You just see branding, and I was just thinking that's the last thing I'll invest. I told myself, I was like, that is the last thing I'll invest in. And it's like we don't even have an account, someone with the finances yet, which we're hiring, because I put other things that I realized were more of a priority. And now what I'm realizing is just how much creating a brand allows people to know that this is like a something. Like it's they're part of something, you're creating something. It's not just another thing, it is something in particular. And I feel like that's what you've helped us do. And so we're still going through, I don't even know if everybody does, we're still going through like what we're calling like a brand evolution, not a rebrand. But like you're leading that too.
Yes. So we talked about as a team and with our coach, Melissa, about not framing it as a rebrand, but as an evolution, because we don't want to say that, the brand is like a rebrand, it's one and done.
And we're not starting over.
Yeah, we're not starting over. We're elevating, we're taking it to the next level. And so we always want to continue to do that. And so if we call it a rebrand, it just seems so final. And as we grow as a business, and I mean, you guys have seen firsthand, like the business has just grown so quickly, so fast. And because of that, like we don't want to stay stagnant. And like a year from now, like where the business could be just so much even more elevated.
Yeah.
And we want our brand to reflect that. And so we don't want to be finalized in our decision making and just continue to elevate it over time.
So Meredith is behind the scenes working with a team that's helping us just evolve, like just elevate a little bit. And so that's going to come with a few things, some logos, some more designs, some different colors, like some of that. But that's actually not just what Meredith does. Like Meredith, very recently, you think about brand protection. Like what is our like non-negotiables as a brand? It's probably still some stuff we should talk about. I feel like we haven't had to talk about it because I feel like we get it, but we probably should write it down. But it's like, what are our non-negotiables? Like Robert helped film some content with some other things that we've done. And like Meredith's just putting an eyes like, ooh, this might not be perceived the right way because of how it was said, because they don't have the context for this. And we don't want it to be like, it's those little things that you don't think about that could actually cause someone to sit there and be like, I just lost trust. And they don't realize they lost trust. They're going to still watch it, but they don't realize that one little thing showed some incongruence or inconsistency and created a break in trust that might be harder to build back. And that's why having someone else from the like more strategic high level lens of like, what are we doing as a brand, even down to like what I wear and don't wear. Like Meredith even said, oh yeah, I like this story that you did because you're wearing the colors. Like you had the bright, it was like, this was the brand even when you were just walking and talking. Right. Like all these little things that are like, what is our brand? What do we do and not do? And I joke, I'm like, you're the brand police, but it's like, you really are saying there are some guidelines we're going to follow on how we're going to communicate, how we're going to show up, how we want people to feel. And you've helped develop that.
Yep. So something you might not know about me.
Oh man.
was that I used to be a softball player. And
what?
I was the catcher. So
You sat there with pads and caught.
Oh, yeah. I think my mom actually sent me a picture recently of it. So it was in middle school. Oh, my God. I loved softball, which is so funny. Like, I didn't play softball in high school. I loved it.
Wow.
And I loved playing catcher specifically because you're in every single play. Right. And so like, even if, they're not hitting you the ball or whatever, like you have to be in every single play, whether they hit it or not. Right. And I love that about branding because you're basically in every single play. So
that's the best analogy ever. You're really speaking my language today, Meredith.
Thank you.
She speaks to me in analogies. And I'm like, I understand now.
Yeah. So it's just like with events, like I work with Lacey and I'm in that play. Right? I work with you in like podcasting and visual and like just like the overseeing, the VIP days, that's a play.
In client delivery, you're putting together the assets that we're using.
Yep. And so it's just like being a part, like, right now with the assets, it's just being a part of everything. And I love that. I love overseeing with social. Like I love approving. I love the strategy behind it. It's really right now it's internal and external, but I love being a part of the plays for the clients and a part of our team. So it's just really fun for me to, again, go from where I was teaching and like being able to teach kids, but also kind of taking that element and being able to teach clients is like a very similar aspect to it and just building on everything like layer by layer of like where I am now.
You're using all of your gifts, like the teaching and the creativity and like it's all coming together. Because you're right. So for those of you that don't know, Meredith is helping us internally at the company with our branding. And in our mastermind and highest level, our two top tiers, she coaches weekly. So she's on there looking at their branding and their messaging and their creative and their ads because she just things just look better and are communicated better when she has that filter. That's why even on our VIP days, whether it's a VIP day or a group VIP day, whatever it is, she's a part of that because you just don't want me picking out visuals or creative things. Like I know where I want it to be. I can be the vision of create this thing, but actually creating that thing is not my best gift. I can give you inspiration, but it's like even Meredith, one of the things that you do that people have communicated to me that they love is when you start out each of your calls with like a little nugget, like here's an idea and here's why. Like I think sometimes when you were talking about this earlier about how I can see things in people, I think I see them where they are 5 years from now. Like what I mean by that is you don't have to have ever worked at a branding company and ever done branding. You're just the best at it. And we didn't need for you to prove it on a resume for 7 years that you did branding for this company for you to be qualified to do it. Like, I feel like this about the company. I'm like, I never ran a company. I'm rolling I'm about to run an 8-figure company. I didn't have that on my resume, but I was ready for it. And I was ready to do the work to be there quicker. And like, I see that for you. And I see that for the clients we work with. I'm like, you don't have this business, but you could if you would just advertise it.
Right.
Like you have all, like every single one of us has these gifts and these skills that are innately something that like we were gifted with. And if you just use that, like I feel like I have been gifted with, I love the teaching, you know that I do. And it's like being able to connect with people. I love humans. I love communicating. I love challenging people. It's like the athlete in me, like all these competitive things it's all coming together. Everything that you've done, your whole life has come together for this. And so for you, for the team, for my clients, I think people on paper were like, am I ready for this? Can I have this role? Can I be here? But it's like, forget the freaking paper and think about what are you best at and most passionate about that everything else has led up to this moment for, and let's just go ahead and start there.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I just wanted to remind you really quickly that if you haven't joined the Win with Paid Ads Challenge, the doors are closing soon. And just as a refresher, this is 5 days of you and or someone on your team learning my 5-part strategy to scale your paid ads. So day 1 is messaging, which is what you say and how you say it. Day 2 is setting, which is all the different places you can place your ads. Think Google ads versus YouTube, Meta, or TikTok. Day 3 is targeting, which is how you can get in front of your exact right person. Day 4 is testing, so you can know what to test and how to improve your ads. And day 5 is scaling and profiting and how you can 10x whatever you're spending on your ads now so that you can have more profit and return and impact, which is ultimately what you want, right? So click the link below, and I cannot wait to see you in the Win with Paid Ads Challenge.
It's really cool. So Meredith gets to work inside and outside, and that's why I wanted to have her today, because there's something I'm really proud of that she did. And it was really having our brand elevated what feels like overnight, in my opinion. And so what we did is, so there's 2 types of events. And for those of you that have like listened to all of the podcasts up until this point, you've probably heard of the events that we did in person the past 2 Januaries. And so if you really think about it, there are 2 types of events. There are sales events and there are fulfillment events. Both are required for a business. Like, you have to sell and you have to fulfill, right? And some people love to sell but don't love to fulfill. Some people love to fulfill but they're scared to sell. And so thank goodness I've invested in the selling part, because I was good at the fulfilling part, but I wanted to have both. And so we did these. So we've done 2 types of events. We've done, let's advertise an event. Let's bring people together. Let's train them and let's share with them how they can partner with us. That's a sales event. And we've done that, and we've grown and we've learned. But what we've realized is I love the fulfillment events. And what we found is we enjoy we love the challenges so much, because no matter what, people walk away happy. Either they're happy because they got so much value from that challenge and like, this is the best thing I've ever attended online. Like, so, I mean, you were there. It's cool to watch. Like, people love it. And there's a certain percentage of people that love it so much, like, we want to work together. We would love to partner together. And so we've gotten so much fulfillment out of that I was like, okay, well, maybe we just do events for our clients instead of doing events in person for sales events. And so I was like, Meredith, this event, I want to go all in. We had a 6-figure budget for this event, because I was like, this is us being like I say, we choose to be the best on purpose and for a purpose. And I'm like, being the best is going to require us not doing $5 box lunches. It is going to require us not doing a Canva graphic that I made to put on the stage. Like, this is going to be an investment in elevating the company so that people feel a part of something. And so we went to Meredith and we were like, Meredith, we want something. We want a theme, I think. Like, I was like, we need a theme for this. And I think that's all the direction we gave. And then Meredith, talk about your process for how I brought you that, and you worked with Lacey, and we created the most incredible, beautiful event that all of our clients and on social media said this was one of the most beautiful events. Like, people that have been in events their whole life said that I've never seen something so thoughtful and intentional that felt like something. So how did you do this, Meredith?
Oh my goodness, the pressure.
I know. We want to know.
So because I love pop culture and because I'm always immersing myself in it, I have a good idea what's going on, what's trending, right?
Yeah, you do. You're so trendy. That's the best way to describe you. You're freaking trendy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. It's an honor.
Yeah.
So I knew that Italian summer, vintage Italy, like that whole vibe is going on right now. And I feel like it was like just on the surface at the beginning of the year. I saw where it was going. I love that vibe. It's like elevated, like old school,
Yeah.
but not like black and white.
Right.
You know, like there's a fine line.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I just started on Pinterest. Honestly, I tell all my coaching calls a lot, like how do I start with like a brand if I don't have a brand? Like go on Pinterest, find some color palettes you like, and start there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because they'll be able to like give you those visuals. And so I just started typing in like elevated themed events, like summer events, like company events, and just kind of figuring out from there. Like it's almost like creating a mood board. I mean, that's what Pinterest is, right?
It really
a lot
is.
of it is. I mean, we know it's a search engine, but like it's also creating those mood boards within your personal pages. And so I just started pinning a bunch of stuff. And when I looked back at my pins, what was being pinned most often, because I had a lot of different visions for what the theme could be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the most pins I had were that Italian summer, vintage summer vibe.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I think we could work with this.
Yeah.
And so I created just a very simple like collage, right? So like thinking back to like when you're in your room in like elementary, middle school and you're like cutting up magazines and like
100%
taping
I
it
did that.
together.
Yep.
Like that's what I did, but just, you know, I put it in Canva and I pitched it to the team and they were like, we love it. Like, let's do it. And so I was like, okay, like they love it. Like, okay.
Yeah, we did. There was no debate. We're like, that's it. Go, run.
Yeah. And so I worked with Lacey on just like the technical side of like what it looks like to throw an event because I'd never done that before.
Yeah.
And Lacey was really good at.
Lacey's our events manager. So she does our events. She does events and hiring right now.
Yeah, very
It's kind
random.
of different, but it's really important.
Yeah.
And she is gifted and experienced in both.
Yes.
So she helps with events and she also helps with the hiring.
Yes. And so because she is so skilled in knowing like the big picture of events, she would be like, you know, I'm thinking we should do, you know, these signs. And I'm like, oh, yes, we should do signs. And I also like, that's just my visual, like my love of like seeing things visually is like, I love going to a wedding and going into the bathroom and seeing like a little like, hey, good looking on the mirror, right?
Yeah,
and so
the
like
details.
I'm thinking through all those little details, like, okay, how can we make this come to life? And so we just went through the like, you know, little checklist. And the first thing I thought of was, well, we need a logo at the beginning. And so like, what could that logo look like? And so we played with a lot. I love that yellow color that we used, like the stripes, like
It was
everything is incorporated. Like you think about Italian summer and you think about stripes, like you think about like the umbrellas that are like lined up in front of like the rocky
juicy red
beaches.
tomato,
The juicy red
a
tomato.
bike, like a skinny wheel bike.
Like limoncello, like Aperol spritz. Like
Yeah.
you just think of like this fun like vibe.
Yeah.
And so I just went from there and tweaked it and
all of a sudden we had this moment where we were by the stage and I was looking up and looking around the room and I saw the launch your ads live and I mean these letters nearly touched the ceiling. Like you haven't seen it, you have to go to our Instagram. And then like the day before our boxes, like we work with a company to do like custom gift boxes. And so we sent all of our clients ahead of the mastermind and we had some for men, some for women, like all the details were thought of. And like Meredith even made kind of two different logos for men versus women for some of the stuff because we just wanted it to be custom. And we had this moment side stage and I was like, oh my God, Meredith, like, how do you feel? She's like, it's crazy. This went from a graphic and a team chat to like, look at this. It was so cool.
Yeah.
Like everything was so big. Everything was so put together. It was so intentional. It was so detailed. And I was just so proud because I actually felt like I wasn't just at an event where there were a bunch of vendors and things set up. I was like, we have created an entire experience because of your vision.
yeah. And I know that we wanted to do something fun for dinner and like do something a little bit different. We had the cello player that was an idea. And
long tables,
yeah,
the
and
string
so I was
lights.
like, okay, we need to talk about this long table. So me and Lacey got on a call, and I was like, okay, I have an idea, but it's going to be more money.
It was,
And
yeah.
because it was going to be different tables, different linens, like, you know, you don't think about how expensive linens are until
You don't think about a lot of things. Don't
Yeah.
like, I will never go to an event now and be like, shoot, look at that napkin. That's an expensive. I touched the napkin. I'm like, this is one of the expensive
Yeah.
ones. Like, you don't think about how everything adds up.
Everything. And so I was like, but if we want to create an experience, not just for the clients, but also just like outwardly, like you also have to think about how are you going to portray this event to other people that are not part of it, that you kind of want to like lure in.
Yeah.
How do they want to feel like a little bit of a FOMO, like, oh, whoa.
Like there's
that's-
something I'm missing out
yeah.
on by not being a part of this event and this community, this whole thing.
Right. And so when you think
Like
of like
intrigue and
Italian
curiosity.
families, you think of like these big long tables where they break bread and they have communion and they just like converse over dinner. And so I found, again, like went back to Pinterest, found some ideas of what it could look like, and showed Lacey, and she was like, yes. Like Lacey, when she like, as she just like was so affirming. And so she was like, I think you should pitch it. I'm like, okay. And like, for those of you that don't really know me, like I'm not a pitcher.
She's like, I'm a catcher, not a pitcher. Is all I gotta say.
Literally, I am not a pitcher. I am like cheering you on the sidelines, like you got this.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I have to go about this in a way that resonates with Ashley. So I'm not going to just be like, okay, this is going to cost a lot more money, but
Yeah, no.
right. So I created a visual, and I was like, here's my thoughts. And I had Ashley close her eyes.
She did.
And I was like, I want you to picture. And so I basically like pitched the visual to Ashley.
The feeling of what it would
Yes.
feel like if the room was set up in this way with these tables, with this lighting.
Yes. And just like the outcome of it. Like if you wanted something on social to be represented in a way that's like, what is this? Like I've never seen Ashley's page before, but I've come across this video and I'm like, oh, interesting. I want to know more. There's that curiosity
Yep.
loop that you talked
You
about.
have to have that in ads. You have to have that in branding. Like you have to have something that
Yes.
says, I want to see more of whatever this is.
And then we wanted it for our clients too, because it's like they're with us all day, working really hard at implementing and launching their ads.
They've invested 5 figures in a program.
Yeah, and you're at just like a company event. It's like, how can we make this more than a company event where it's like everyone has their blazers on and like their name tags, and it's like they come back and it's like this whole like, I mean, almost like a dream, because we had the twinkle lights and the long tables, and it was so fun to see their expression because we kept it all a secret. And
Yeah.
so when I pitched it, Ashley was like, I'm sold. Like, and then Lacey, chimed in with like the additional costs, and, Ashley believed in the vision.
Yeah.
And so I think we talk about like selling somebody on something, like you always say like, inform me first and then tell me. And so like,
Inform me, then advise me.
advise me.
Yeah.
Yes. And so it's like, I informed the vision and then advised like on like, how could we get there to create this vision?
Versus if she was like, hey, I think we should do this thing because it's this amount of money. She's like, no, I want her to feel what it'll feel like.
Yeah.
And you think about whether it's branding or whether it's ads, that's actually the goal. So often we're like, here's the logistics of what we sell. And I'm like, I don't know why nobody's signing up from these ads.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because you haven't sold them on actually what they want, which is to experience or feel a certain way,
Right.
truly. So I think we're so used to going in the order of we're not thinking about what they want first. We're thinking about what we want to tell them about the thing first, whether it's anything. And so the team knows how to sell me. It's hilarious now. Rose will be like, this is more, she will not tell me. She's like, so there's 2 options. And she was like, the one you probably want, because this will happen, is this. And then always I'm like, okay, I'm already sold on whatever this is. And then I ask for the price. Like, I can't wait to hear the price. And then what I'll do is I'll have a number in my mind. I was like, I would never go above this. And then she'll say, I'm like, it was below the number that I was going to throw up at. So I think we can do it. But it was like, they know that what I care about is the value. And I feel like that is actually part of our brand. We don't do cheap discounts. We don't do cheap. We are elevated. We are an investment. And we want to attract the type of buyers that we are, which is people who pay for value. And I'm like, if we're going to do that, then that's going to require all of our brains to think not what is always the cheapest option.
Right.
It's hard because that's how we were all, I think, raised to like think about everything.
Yeah.
But you've done such a good job. So yeah, it was really cool. I think watching, for all of you listening, you don't have to have, I know you're like, how do I find a Meredith? Well, like you get to a place where learning from someone like Meredith, getting in the room with someone like Meredith who can see things that you can't. And if anything, just have someone else that can have perspective for you. And just so you know, we were able to get to a 7-figure business without having this right. But what I definitely knew is we wouldn't get to an 8-figure business without it. And so for all of you, the question is Meredith, let's just say as we wrap up the episode, for someone who, let's talk to 2 people. Let's help the person that feels like they have no branding, everything they do is a mess, and they're a one-man band. What are 3 things you would recommend for them as they think about branding as it might relate to their ads? Like I know yesterday we talked about, or recently you and I talked about, with ads, we want to make sure you're sending them somewhere that looks like someone lives there. You don't want to send them to a big home. So let's say, what are 3 recommendations or tips you could give someone just getting started to think about their brand? And then what about someone who has an established brand? You can always take things a step further. So what would you say to the influencer or creator who has 800,000 followers, is killing it with their business, but may want to create another brand or another product or something else in the future? What would you say to the maybe not so established? And what would you say to the established as some tips as they think about their branding?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, this could go for both though.
Okay.
My first thought would be to create some type of buy-in that's not your product.
What do you mean?
So if you're selling, say, sunscreen,
Perfect.
right? You're selling sunscreen. How can you create the buy-in as like why I'm buying your sunscreen and not their sunscreen, right? Because there's a lot of sunscreen out there.
Lots.
So what are you offering besides like the actual product? Are you offering, is it family owned? How are you going to shape your story around that? How are you going to be someone that's creating that buy-in?
You know what I just thought about? If it was sunscreen, like I would go into protection. Like I would go into the definition of protection, like and like protecting their family and protect. Like you think about kids, it's like that one thing. So that's where you like the branding part and the messaging part comes in. It's like you could create a brand out of like you being obsessed with protecting.
Right. Or storytelling. Like maybe you had skin cancer and you didn't feel like you were being protected and you always wore sunscreen, like, and you developed something out of that. Like, what kind of story can you tell that led you to that business? And how can you shape that as like creating that brand loyalty?
Yeah.
Right. If it's not, sunscreen, maybe it's clothing and maybe you talk more about like confidence and like share how you've built confidence over time with your clothing, right? Like Iconic does. And there's just other ways that you can go about it without just blasting your product, right?
Correct.
And we talk about that with in my coaching calls is a lot of the ads that I love and that I share are the products off-center. And this is more product-based, but the products are kind of like lingering to the right or behind the scenes. And it's more of how can we shape what the product is solving versus like being like, buy this product, right?
Yeah.
And there's always room for those types of ads.
Totally.
But just being able to shape like, again, the brand loyalty, like why am I wanting to buy this rather than this when there's so much out there?
Yeah. And Meredith's right. Like there's times where you're like, here's the thing that you're looking for. But there's a difference between here's the thing and why buy this thing over that thing. And that's where branding comes into play. It's like a lot of you have a what you could sell, but why people would choose you, that's where these other elements matter. So yes, sometimes your product should be front and center. Sometimes it should be the thing that's complementing the bigger picture and the bigger reason in the story. And that's what you're so good at, like helping people do. So that was a great tip. So just thinking about how to position it in why this over anything else. What's the story behind it? What's one more tip or idea that could help either side?
Yeah. And I think the next one would be just adding some cohesiveness across all of your platforms.
Yes. Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
So
that was so bad for us. I didn't realize how bad it was for us until Meredith came on board. And she's so funny. It was something like this. I'm not remembering it perfectly, but it was like, Yeah, so maybe like for Facebook, we could like change it to match the name of everything. Like it was like I'm like, God, it doesn't match. Like there were so many things, or like she was like the background picture is from like a year ago. I'm like, oh my God, it still says that. I'm like, oh no, it had the old challenge name on it.
Yeah.
You're like, that's not good.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so cohesiveness is such a good one.
It really is. Because, you talk about breaks in trust, and yeah, they may realize that it is the same company or same person across platforms, but it's like, do they care enough? Like, are they making sure that everything is up to date and everything is aligned?
Yeah, because if this is outdated, is their portal outdated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do they care about updating things, like how you update your course, when things change and things like that? It's just, being cohesive, because what was the stat that you shared? How likely the person is to remember your
By
ad.
color alone. Was it that one?
It's like maybe like 80% more likely to remember your ad if they see it on multiple platforms.
On multiple channels. Yeah. It was like your conversion rate is typically 80. I think it was something like you were 80% more likely to convert a user when they've experienced your brand across more than 3 channels.
Right. And so if you are on multiple channels, like you want people to know that that's you on those channels multiple times.
Yeah.
You don't want, a messy here ad on Meta and then a polished ad on YouTube. And it's like, is that the same company? I don't know.
With different handle names and different colors and outdated branding photos.
Yeah.
Like how can you be consistent? So for those of you that are super type A, super logistics, all she's saying is how can you have the same brand on multiple platforms? Maybe that's your fonts, maybe it's your colors, maybe it's the naming, but how can you literally have a cohesive thing where it's like, oh, that's very clearly this person. That's it.
And we talk about messaging on different platforms, especially when I was working in organic social. It's like every platform has a different feel, right?
Yeah.
TikTok is more Gen Z and like less structured, and Facebook is more like family oriented, right? Like you look at those memes that are like different profile pictures for different ones, but you also have to stay consistent even though it's different platforms. So something that comes to mind with us is like, we don't want any type of sarcasm to come out in our messaging, because that's not who we are, right? Because sarcasm can feel like you're being talking down to, right? In a way. And sometimes with sarcasm, like people think that they're being funny or whatever, and that could be their brand, but because that's not us, like just because we're on TikTok doesn't mean we need to be sarcastic, right?
Totally.
So just continuing that in visual, but also messaging, staying consistent.
So good. All right, that was great. Do you have any other last final bonus that's coming to mind?
No.
Okay. Those are 2 really good tips. There's so much more. And one thing I know about Meredith is like if I gave her like an idea and was like, hey, I want to find the top 10 branding mistakes, she would find them and she would get them. But one of the things I love is I'm like quick to fire and she's like quick to think about it, which is why we're a great team.
Yes, we
right?
are. Yeah.
So I hope that was really helpful as you've gotten to know Meredith. And I think this is just another example of what we're creating, and why I think it's so special is it is just not me. Like there is Meredith, we have Lacey, we have all these experts and team like growing together to serve our clients, and it's like so fun to watch. That's why I joke, but someone was like, I love this extra mastermind we're in with Meredith because they love getting to learn from her perspective. And the reason that Meredith is a part of even our clients coaching and at our middle and top tier is because sometimes people are getting mad that like this audience isn't working or this ad isn't working. I'm like, it's actually the messaging and the creative, or not only, what if it's not the ad at all? What if it's where the ad is sending to creates distrust and the branding is off? So that's why this was a part of the business that I wanted to be able to arm our clients with, to be able to help them. And so Meredith is working on all types of stuff behind the scenes just to help our clients win with their ads and also win with their creative. So speaking of winning, if you've not joined the Win with Paid Ads Challenge, we would love to get to meet you. Meredith on those. She support the whole team's on the challenge to be able to see how they can support you in winning with your ads. So if you are in a place where you're ready for your ability to have more visibility, you belong in the Win with Paid Ads Challenge. We will link below this video and this podcast. And just know that if you see something beautiful that the company creates, and she's already planning our next events for our next clients, like she's already in the play doing so many things. And as our brand evolves, just go give Meredith a high five on social media because she is the brain and the strategy behind it. We are so grateful to have her. I hope you love this episode, and we cannot wait to see you on the next one. You're the best, Meredith.